All right, so you're here because you're a little frustrated with your dog, or you just want your dog to be better, you want your dog to thrive, and I'm here to teach you how to get the best relationship out of your dog, make your dog's life 10 times better with minimal effort, okay? Not that you don't want to work, but it's just we're busy, we work, we have lives, but we also have dogs, and we want our dogs to live a good life. So, welcome back to the No Nonsense channel, where I teach everyday dog owners like yourself how to have a really wonderful dog, okay? All right, so this video you're probably on because your dog probably knows some commands, but sometimes, depending on the situation, your dog doesn't listen, or your dog knows commands, you tell your dog to sit or down, they don't do it, and then you pull the food out, and all of a sudden your dog will do anything you want. So there's a big common misconception that I'm seeing that in order to teach a dog something, you have to have food. Food is the only way to teach. That is completely false. Food is one way to teach a dog things, but you don't need food to teach a dog anything. Do you want to use food sometimes? Yeah, sure. But food is one of the most misused and overused dog training tools that there is. I see it all the time. People get the treat pouch out. The dog won't listen, so they go get the treats. All of a sudden the dog listens. It's nonsense, dude. You don't have to carry a treat pouch everywhere you go, man. And no, you're not being mean if you don't have treats and you want your dog to do something and you make them do it. It's not mean. It's just do it. You know what I mean? If I tell my dog to sit and we're in the house, why do I need some food? Right? Like, you should sit. But food can help. Food can build motivation. It can build drive. It's rewarding. But you want to eventually fade the food out to where you don't need it. So, this video is going to be on leash pressure. I see so many people walking their dogs, and it just looks insane. Their dog's just pulling, their dog's choking. They're pulling, they're popping a leash. They're like, no, stop. It's nonsense. Your walk does not have to be this big frustrating thing that you dread doing. Your walk can be nice, all right? So leash pressure. What I mean by leash pressure is if I take a leash and I make it tight, I can get a dog to do different things, right? I just got him to sit without telling him. I can tell him to lay down with leash pressure, right? I didn't actually tell him down. I didn't actually say sit, but he did it. But of course, dogs do not come pre-installed with knowledge of what the leash means. So when you see a dog or your dog is pulling on the leash, chances are they're not being bad, right? They're not being disobedient. They're not being stubborn. Rather, you've never taught them what the leash means and how to turn off that pressure. Dogs come pre-installed with something called opposition reflex. What that means is when you apply pressure on a leash, the dog's nature, without any training, they're going to pull the opposite direction. You pull forward, they're going to pull backwards. They're walking forward, you're pulling back, they're going to pull harder forward because by nature, they are conditioned to pull against pressure. You have to teach a dog what pressure means. So think of it this way. If you get in a car, what do you hear? Ding, 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 ding. The seatbelt indicator. You can turn that off. You plug the seatbelt in, the noise stops. And why do you want to turn it off? It's not painful. It's not punishing, but it is annoying. It's nothing inherently aversive to you, but it's very annoying and you want it to shut off. Same with dogs. Leash pressure is annoying. The dog wants it to shut off, but the dog thinks that if they pull hard enough, it'll shut off. You have to teach your dog how to shut that pressure off and how to respond to pressure. Okay? So it's something you do have to teach. It's a language. So we're not going to be focusing on commands. Rather, we're going to be focusing on how to teach a dog what leash pressure means. What I mean by leash pressure, again, is anytime the leash is tight, that is considered leash pressure. For me, as a dog owner and dog trainer, there's never a time that my leash is tight unless I need to communicate something to my dog. Otherwise, the leash always has a dip in it. It's loose, like this. When I'm on my walks, my dog has a loose leash. The only time it's tight is when I need to tell my dog something. As you saw just a minute ago, I told him to sit and I told him to lay down. But as soon as he did those positions, I made the leash loose again. So, to teach your dog how to turn off pressure and how to respond to pressure so that you can go on a walk without your dog pulling your shoulder out of its socket, you want to do this. You get some food, but the food's optional. Not every dog is motivated by food, but it helps. But you don't need food, okay? So, pressure, you want to teach a dog how to turn it off. So, you're not going to be speaking at all, really, during this, but you are going to be using the leash, and you are going to be rewarding your dog. So what I do typically in the beginning is I start in the house, I put a little 6-foot leash on my dog, and I start with just directional, meaning I'm going to pull any direction. What you're looking for is that your dog steps into the pressure rather than pulls against it. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to pull the leash in any direction you want. And the thing about pressure is once it's turned on, it has to stay on until the dog does what you want. So I'll just show you an example of what I mean. I'm going to apply the leash in a direction that tells him to sit. Once the leash goes tight, it's going to stay tight until he sits. So watch this. It's on, it's on, it's on. Now it's off. The moment he does what I want, I turn it off. So he's learning that, the leash is tight, this is annoying, seatbelt indicator. It's annoying, my butt hits the ground, it turned off. And by repetition, he'll start to learn more that when he feels this, straight up like this, he's in control. He can turn that off, and it's not going to turn off until he sits. So, now back to actually teaching it. What I like to do first is I start with my dog, and I just do directional, meaning he's away from me and I pull towards me. The moment he steps towards me, that's the moment I'm going to say yes and then reward my dog with some food. Though the food is optional, if your dog's not food motivated, then just praise your dog. So it looks like this. I'm going to pull any direction. Yes, the moment he comes towards the direction that the leash is being pulled, I say yes, and when he gets to me, I reward him with food. But if you're not using food, then the moment your dog does it, you're just going to praise your dog. Good boy. So it'll look like this without food. Good boy. Good job. So again, I like to start directionally. So I pull the leash in any direction. Let me go ahead and get... All right, so again, I like to start directionally. So you're going to pull the leash in any direction. Yes. The moment the dog gives in to the pressure, you're going to reward your dog or praise your dog. Yes. Good boy. Good job. Yes. Very easy. You can do this any direction. Yes. It's very, very simple. But the most important part, though, is as soon as the dog gives in to the pressure, you have to turn it off. I see a lot of people make mistakes. They fail to turn the pressure off at the right time, or they turn the pressure off too early. So again, once I pull him towards me, the leash is still tight, but he did what I wanted. So now I'm being unclear in my communication. In order for your dog to understand pressure and to teach them that pressure actually means something, you have to turn it off right when the dog does what you want the dog to do. In this case, I want him to step towards me. That's going to teach him that when he feels that pressure, he's in control. He can turn it off by stepping towards the pressure rather than pulling against it. Now I've only had him for about 4 days. He really doesn't know this, but he is a German Shepherd. He's smart. But you may have a dog who really struggles. You may pull on the leash, and you're going to see them go like this, okay? Very common. You're going to pull one direction, the dog's going to go like this. You have to keep that leash tight but not yanking it, not choking the dog, but you have to keep it tight with tension, and you wait for your dog to go from this to boom. At that moment, you praise and or reward your dog with food. So again, you're gonna pull the leash, your dog's probably gonna go like this. You have to keep the leash tight, and you have to keep it on until your dog goes from this to this. It may take a couple seconds, right? Don't start pulling harder. Don't get frustrated. Just hold it consistent. Your dog eventually will give in to the pressure. So now, after doing directional, where I'm having my dog follow just any direction, yes, just like that, now I like to start with different positions. Typically, I like to start with the sit. So, you're not going to be using the word sit. You're just teaching the dog what pressure means. So now, what you're going to do, I like to just pull up on the leash. So again, once you turn on the pressure, it has to stay on until your dog goes into position. The moment your dog's butt hits the ground, you turn off the pressure, and then that's the moment you can reward your dog or praise your dog. And again, some dogs take longer. You may pull up on the leash, and your dog may walk around, spin around a little bit. Your dog may, act differently, but you must just keep the leash on until your dog does it. Now, don't start yanking your dog and choking your dog, but just keep it tense, and you'll see your dog start to learn. And as your dog starts to understand, you'll see the dog do it faster and faster. So, now doing it in the context of the sit position, here we go. I'm going to put the pressure on, and it's going to stay on here. Yes, right there. The moment the butt hits the ground, I turn it off, I say yes, and I reward my dog with food. But if you're not using food, don't worry about saying yes, just praise your dog. Good boy, just praise him, but make sure you turn the leash off as soon as the dog does it. Now again, watch this. I'm gonna do a mistake that I see a lot. I turn it on, the dog takes a little bit long, and I go, oh, yes. He actually did it really fast there. But what people do is, they turn it on, the dog doesn't move within 3 seconds, and they turn it off. But the dog didn't actually do what you wanted. That's going to become confusing to your dog. Your dog's not going to truly understand how to turn off pressure. You have to keep it on until your dog does what you want. So again, if you have a dog when you're doing the sit position like this that we're doing, and they're taking a long time, you're just holding it there and they're really, really struggling, there's other ways that you can show your dog, but the whole goal is that no matter what, the leash is on until your dog does it. So one of the ways that you can show your dog how to turn off the pressure in the context of getting him to sit is if you put the pressure on, you can step into your dog at the same time. But the same rules apply. Yes. Once the leash is on, it stays on until your dog goes into the correct position. But if your dog is taking a little bit of time, with the leash still turned on, try stepping into your dog. That usually works. But another thing you can do is you can use food and show your dog. So I turn the leash on, and then I take the food. Yes. And I lift the food above the dog's head with the leash still tight. And the moment he sits, I turn it off, and then I reward the dog. So again, leash on. He's taking a long time. I step into him with the leash still tight. Yes. As soon as he sits, I release the pressure on the leash, and then I reward him. Let's do that one more time. Leash on. Still on. I'm going to show him. Turn it off. Yes. Just like that. Now again, I got to remind you, don't start yanking your dog. Don't get frustrated. Don't turn it off and then turn it on, turn it off. Like, just keep it on until your dog does what you want them to do. And if your dog is really struggling, try two of those methods, either taking food with the leash still tight and raising it above the dog's head, or stepping into your dog. So let's do it one more. Yes. All right. So that's another way that I like to teach my dogs what leash pressure means. Now, the next way is teaching the dog to follow it in the context of going down. This one is a lot harder. Your dog may fight this one a lot. And it's pretty difficult for a lot of dogs that I train, but you just have to get them through it. But again, the process here is not that you're being punishing, you're just popping the leash, yanking the leash. It should just be a minor annoyance where your dog is like, this is annoying, I kind of want this to stop. But you have to show your dog the right answer to get it to stop. And in this case, the only right answer is laying down. So what I like to do is, I'm tall, I like to just take my foot and I like to apply light pressure on the leash and I just hold it down. Yes, same rules apply though. Once the leash pressure is turned on, it has to stay on until your dog successfully goes into the down position. And you're not going to be saying down, you're not going to be saying sit, you're not going to be saying come when you're doing this stuff. You're just using leash pressure, you're being silent. So again, I like to take my foot and I apply it on the leash here. Now it's on, it's on, it's on, it's on, it's off. Yes. But again, that's not the only way. That's just the way I like to do it. Another way is you can just use your hands, right? So I can take my hand. Leash pressure's on, it's on, it's on, it's on. Still on, still on. Now it's off. Yes. But again, I'm going to show you guys what happens in a lot of scenarios when I have dogs. So you go to do this. You grab your dog's leash, and you start to pull it down a little bit, and you see your dog like this. They pull up, and that's that opposition reflex. The second you start pulling down, they pull against it, they pull up. All right? In that moment, you can't turn the leash off. You have to keep it on. But if your dog's really struggling, you can do something like this. You can take food. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to start to apply the leash down. And then you can take food with the leash tight. You take food and you guide your dog with the food to the ground. It's still on, by the way. It's still on. Now it's off. Yes. And then your dog gets the reward as soon as he does it, and the leash turns off as soon as he does it. Now again, another disclaimer. Dogs struggle with the down. So do all the other things like directional and sitting. Get your dog really good at that before you try to do the down. Because you're going to see, you're going to try the down, you're going to pull it down, and most of you are going to see your dog immediately go like this. They're going to fight it. Or even with the directional, remember, you're going to see, you're going to pull your dog towards you, and your dog's going to go like this. You have to wait until your dog gives into the pressure to turn it off. That's the only way it turns off. That way you're being 100% clear on teaching the dog how to turn it off. The dog's in control here. This is something that all dogs benefit from. You need to teach your dog leash pressure. It's going to fix your walks. It's going to fix your situations where maybe you tell your dog to sit and you don't have food and you need a way to tell them to sit, right? You can use this throughout the whole dog's life. This is, by far, in my opinion, way more valuable than using food to teach stuff, even though I do both. And the official term for this is called negative reinforcement. Negative doesn't mean bad. Negative in this case means you're taking away something to reinforce something. Meaning, you apply pressure up, the dog sits, the pressure goes away, and the dog goes, ooh, I like sitting because it makes the pressure turn off, reinforces the command. So negative means taking away. So again, let's recap all the different methods. You start with directional. Pull your dog towards you. Yes. The moment your dog steps into the pressure, towards the direction in which you're pulling, you turn off the pressure and you reward your dog if you want, or praise your dog. Another method, and it's not about the sit or the down, but it's just about your dog understanding how to turn off pressure, is pulling straight up. Yes. And as soon as your dog puts the butt on the ground, you turn off the pressure, and then you reward your dog or praise your dog. And then the last method here that I typically use is the down position. So I take my foot or my hand, and I pull the leash down towards the ground real lightly. I keep it on, it's still on, it's still on, turns off as soon as the dog lays down. If you teach your dog leash pressure, your dog is going to be so much better in every aspect of life. And you'll have a full language to be able to communicate with your dog when you're in a hard environment, when you see other dogs and you see people, when you're at the park, you have a way to be able to communicate things to your dog without having to have a bag of food on you 24/7, all right? So take this, go train your dog, give your dog the best life that you can possibly give them. See you for the next one. Peace.